up, everybody?
Hey.
It's Chris and Kate sitting in chairs, which generally means that we're going to roll a video for our live today, and that's what we're going to do. So the last few weeks we've been talking about the B10X in particular, the 250 watt variation. The 500 is great. More power is always super fun, especially if you are the type of photographer that needs that. But if you're just getting into flash, or you're looking at buying a flash and you're like, man, I'm on the fence between the 250 watt second version or the 500 watt second version, and I'm having a hard time deciding, should I save the money and is 250 watts enough, or do I need to, pony up a little bit more dough and go with the bigger light? And this video is to show you that you may not need to pony up the dough. The upsides for stuff like the 250 watt is, first and foremost, price, but form factor, it's a much smaller flash. And just in general, it's a great little piece of kit to have in your bag. It's about the size of the shape of a full frame 24-70 lens. So you can kind of pop that bad boy in vertical right into your bag, right next to your camera stuff. And you have a killer light right next to your camera, ready to rock and roll. So I'm not gonna sit here yapping too much because I talk about a lot of this stuff in the video. It's about 15 minutes long. We'll be here back with the images also so that you can
bring your questions.
Yeah, you bring your questions. We'll be monitoring the chat during the thing, during the actual video, and we can answer your questions at the end of it. So cool. What's up, everybody?
Hello,
Leo, what's happening?
Hello. Okay.
But yeah, come in. Hold on one second. We have a screen enlargement situation. We're back. Couldn't click the right buttons. So let's roll that bad boy. What's up, everybody? We are outside to talk about the final portion of our series we've had talking about the B10X. And today is concentrating on what you can do with 250 watt seconds of light. So in the past couple of lives, we've talked about some still life stuff and kind of how the B10 is really powerful for that. We've done some single light looks to show you how easy it is to do some easy in-studio portraiture. And now we're outside to show you that you really don't need all that much power to make a great image. And that's what we're gonna be doing today. So I have a couple of modifiers with me so we can talk about some things, but for the most part, I feel like people are probably using soft light outside. A lot of people generally tend to go to a soft light anyway, but they're using it outside, and we'll explain why we're doing all that stuff here today. Again, 250 watt seconds is plenty of juice to do most things that you need on the outside. Now, 250 watts isn't going to give you the ability to just absolutely overpower the sun and kind of take it to task and change the way the light's falling, but it's plenty of power to take your light and fill in some shadows using the sun as a hair light or a backlight, and just emphasizing the image some more. And we've talked about this in the past about what makes a really natural looking shot outside with the flash. That's a style that I tend to go towards, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. And I'll explain that for maybe someone who hasn't seen our lives in the past talking about this. So again, 250 watts is going to be more than enough to do most things for people. Is it nice to have the 500 watts of the plus version of the B10X? Sure, but when you go for that larger size flash, you're gonna have to give up some more space in your bag. I generally tell people that, for the most part, to get something, you're going to have to give something else up. And in the case to get more power with the B10X Plus, you're gonna have to give up some space, and maybe you don't have the ability to give up that space. Maybe the operation that you run is very scrappy and you need to kind of keep your kit small. Again, the B10X at 250 watt seconds is more than enough to do most of the things that you need. So we're set up out here in a field. It's a little bit later in the afternoon, but the sun is still out. We're out in the open sun. So we're not shooting in shade. We don't have any coverage to give us more ability with the flash. And we're gonna be able to take the B10 and show you what you can really do with it. The goal here is for a full body image. So that way, oh, I'm about to fall over. The goal here is for a full body image with a nice even illumination. What that's gonna require from us is backing the light up just a little bit. One, we're gonna wanna keep the softbox out of the frame anyway, but in order to get that light to fall more evenly, we talked about this on the live last week with the still life, how we were able to get that light further away from the object we were photographing so we had a nice even spread.
that rule is still going to apply here by us needing to back the light up a little bit more to get a little more even spread top to bottom. We're going to be shooting fairly wide open on my lens, 1.7, because it's a nice little field, but it's not beautiful back there. You can see we're in the middle of a city. It's winter, so there's really no leaves on the trees. So we're going to want to kind of make all of that stuff in the background disappear. One of the things that's a little bit harder to do, especially when you're kind of shooting full body things, stuff in the background can start to be a little bit more visible. So we're shooting at 1.7 to kind of get rid of that stuff. We have Kate dressed in kind of like a cool fall wintry outfit, just kind of vibing in the park. Make it a really nice natural looking image. So with that being said, let's pull up. What we're going to do first is I'm going to show you what we're set to with the camera here with the flash off, so you can kind of get an idea of what the ambient light looks like in the image without us doing anything. So I'm gonna take a little tester shot there so I know where I'm at whenever we're putting all this stuff together. So cool. So 3, 2, 1. So it's a good image. I underexpose it just a little bit to try to maintain some of the natural feel to it when I bring the flash into the image. I also, for people who may not understand this technique or have never heard me talk about this before, what I like to do whenever I'm blending my flash with my ambient light is I like to put the flash on the exact same side that the sun's coming from. So in this instance with Kate, we have the sun coming from her left side, so I have the light positioned over on the left side. What that's going to give is it's going to give the feel that the light is wrapping around her, and again, coming from the same direction, not making it look like there's another light in the scene. So really, really nice stuff. We also have her, and just so you know, distance-wise, you're probably 8 feet from the flash itself. Again, the B10X, 250 watts through a 3-foot octa, which notoriously eats some light, about a stop and a half. So what this is going to be showing you is that you can get a really, really good image just by having a light that will, with 250 watts to do the job. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick on the trigger. And we're going to use TTL. So I think in this scenario here, just to kind of explain why I think this is going to work pretty good. In this scenario, we don't really have too much contrasty stuff. For the most part, the tones are the same. The light's pretty even top to bottom. TTL should do a phenomenal job here. It's looking at the scene, it's trying to make it 18% gray, and I think it'll do a really good job. So we're going to flip over to TTL, and then we're going to see kind of where we are power settings wise. So you ready, Kate?
Yep.
Cool. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And that's a beautiful exposure. Cool. So we'll pull it up on the screen for you to see it. But it's a really nice exposure. So, but let's check this. So let's go in here and flip off TTL. So we're at a power level of 9.2 on our B10X. That's going to do a couple of nice things for us. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to extend our battery life. So with this B10X Plus, with a full power flash, you're getting about 400 shots at full power, which is not bad. Now with the power coming down to 9, half power, so a little bit more than 9, so right around half power, you've now just doubled your light output. So now you have about 800 shots on the battery right off the jump. So we're outside, we have plenty of battery power to complete a session. 800 shots is nothing to scoff at. And you always have a backup. It's always best to have a backup, but that's gonna get you 800 shots. Beautiful soft light going through some diffused light and still at about half power. The other thing that's gonna allow us to do is if something changes, if the scene changes, if maybe you're shooting and the light's kind of going in and behind the clouds. I feel a little wind going. I'm gonna hold this thing for a second. But maybe it's a little more cloud cover and the sun's kind of going in and out. What that allows for you to do is turn the power up a little bit more if you need it. You still have the ability to kind of feather the light up and down. You're not at that tip top max of your flash output. So it's a really powerful light for what it does. And again, you know, we're 8 feet from Kate with the light. It doesn't really matter how far we are with the actual camera itself because it's really about the light getting to the subject. But even if we were to talk about that, we're, you know, 8 feet from Kate with this, and then probably another 4 or 5 feet. So we're easily 10, 12 feet away from Kate. I guess if I actually mathed that correctly, that would have been 13, but we're not going to say that that's our strong point today. So again, 250 watt seconds is more than enough to get you what you need. And let me actually grab it. So let's talk about this. If push comes to shove, you can always switch to a harder light modifier. Now, this is going to be a little more obvious in the scene than something like your softbox is going to be, where we're taking that light and we're wrapping it. Something along the lines of this means that we are going to have a harder light. We're gonna have some harder shadows. We can still blend that hard light with our ambient to make it feel a little more natural, but you are gonna get some more pronounced shadows. The upside for this, way more efficient. This is the OCF Magnum. I don't know if I said that out loud. If you went with like the OCF Zoom or the OCF Magnum, what that's gonna allow for is more efficiency, a little bit harder light, but you're gonna be able to gain even more output out of your B10X. So this right here takes your B10X, say you had to shoot at full power. This takes that 250 watts and turns it to effectively 1,000 watt seconds of output with this little reflector here. So if you find yourself in a scenario where maybe you really want to crush that ambient light, you're looking for super fast, high speed sync settings. So maybe you're going up to your 4,000, 8,000th of a second. Having a hard reflector like this, you know what? We should probably just do it. We should probably go to a super, let's start pushing the scene a little bit more and show you, you know, 250 watts is awesome, and especially if you add it to this. So I know that we're gonna need to lose the softbox, but let's, you know what, let's push it with the softbox so people can kind of see what it looks like. So camera settings wise for me, for the 2 shots that we did, we were at, let's see. Let's pull up the screen. We're at shutter speed of 1250th of a second, ISO 100 and f1.7. So let's just take my camera to as fast as it goes. It goes to 4,000th of a second. So let's just speed that bad boy on up. Oh, let's not go to bulb mode. Perfect. So let me turn the trigger off again. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. So this is us pushing all the way up, bringing the ambient down as much as I can with my camera. I can only go to 4,000th of a second. Granted, I could close down my aperture a little bit more and do that, but I want to stay at that 1.7. Now, if I turn the remote back on and kind of let the softbox do its thing, go back to TTL mode, 3, 2, 1. It does an okay job, actually, here, let's review the CN. It actually does an okay job of filling Kate in, which is really impressive, again, for 250 watt seconds, but it's a little underexposed. Granted, we can go into, you know, our raw software like Capture One, which is what I use, and we could tweak it a little bit, but let's see what we can do inside the camera and make that happen. So let's just go, no softbox at all. So let's close this up. This also gives us the added benefit of I don't have to worry about the light falling over with the wind, the light breeze. Cool. So now in TTL mode, light point at her, let's see. Yeah, that's good. Now in TTL mode, we're going from that power level of 10, 3, 2, 1, to a really nice exposure. So let's see. So this even still needed that power level of 10. It needed full power to give us a better exposure, even without the softbox. So you can tell that that softbox is eating up a whole bunch of light. So even with nothing on the light, we can do a really good job of getting the image we want. But this is where that Magnum comes in. This is where this is really handy. So just like we were talking about the battery life. So at 10, you can get 400 full power shots in with at a power level of 10. But what if you don't want to what if you know, for safety's sake, don't want to run through that? Hold on, let's see. I just want to make sure is that modeling light on or off?
It just turned on.
Perfect. I just noticed that my modeling light was running. So we want to get that power level down so we can conserve some battery life. Maybe we're doing something that's a little bit faster moving, so we need the recycle speed, or maybe we need a little bit shorter flash duration. So we need to get that power level down. This is where something like the OCF Magnum is going to be dynamite. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So a nice exposure because of that distance that we have on between Kate and the background. So we have a nice fall off down towards the ground, good coverage, and we have the added benefit of the light dropping down to 8.7. So we've now gone down over half power from where we were without the Magnum reflector, and it's doing a phenomenal job. Now we've gained back that battery life, we've gained back some recycling speed, and it makes all the difference in the world. So all of this to say, a 250 watt second flash for most people is more than enough light than what you might find yourself needing. If you shoot maybe some larger groups outside and then you're gonna have to back up some more, maybe that's where you need to start thinking about something like the B10X Plus. But if you're doing a lot of maybe couples or single portraits, especially if you're doing headshots and stuff like that, and you do it, you know, in the studio or on location, like something like this, 250 watt seconds is going to give you more than enough through a softbox. You know, we're getting full body shots through a softbox at, 12-foot range. So again, that 250 watt seconds is going to be more than enough to do most things that you can throw at it. And then if that time comes where you find that maybe you're maybe you've gotten hired for a gig that's going to require a little bit more juice out of something, you can always go to a rental facility and rent that for that one job. Or if you're finding that that type of work is starting to pick up, maybe that's when you either upgrade or you add a heavier powered light to your arsenal along with the B10X Plus. So I think that's good for the most part with the coverage for everything that we can think of. And let's go back in the studio. We can talk about the images, take your questions. Peace, everybody.
Hello.
And that's it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff. We were able to create, really, really easily with the light. It gave us more than enough output to take a softbox image, conserving some power, getting that full body shot. High speed sync always eats up a little bit more power than normal. It's just because of the way the light pulse has to be managed. And that actually brings us to a comment from Jacob, who's saying, when he feels like he needs more output, he'll throw a neutral density filter on the thing, and that way you can get out of high speed sync. And because the way that flash pulse is managed in high speed sync versus just a full on full power pulse, you get more light output.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really, really great point. For some, this, but I think the cool thing about what we're talking about in this video too is that if maybe you're not familiar with the ND filters, maybe you are now, but I mean, we've done a live using the ND filter versus high speed sync before. But if you're not familiar with ND filters, or you just don't want a piece of an ND filter in front of your lens, you can still do really, really good stuff with a really compact light. Again, at good distances, Kate it was a full body image with a softbox, and we still had almost a stop of light that we could go up, which again gives us the latitude to power up if we need to, if the conditions change, or if we need to move. It gives us almost double the battery output. I know at one point in time I said it doubles the output when the thing's down. What I meant to say is it doubles the battery capacity, or the amount of flashes you can pull for the amount of flashes that you can get out of a full charge on your battery. So, but yeah, so, and it keeps working the more you can power down. So, you get down, you're at 800 at 9, at 8, you're at 1600. And then so, down the range to 0.1. So you have a ton of range. So it's a great flash. Again, compact, sturdy. It's meant to last you a super long time. So if you've been thinking about adding, maybe you're not a flash photographer and you've been thinking about adding something, the B10X would be a really, really good light for that. It's something that you can grow with. It builds seamlessly kind of into the Profoto ecosystem. Make it really easy to add a second, third, or fourth light to your setup, and everything talk together, everything look like it's made to be together, because it is. It's kind of all in the ecosystem. So again, really, really fun stuff. I love shooting outside. The kind of to go over just a little bit before we sign out, the way that we had set up everything is to have that light coming in from the side, on the same side as the sun, to make it feel a little bit more natural. You can do that as well with that hard light. The main thing that you want to do when you're trying to achieve that is you want to try to keep the image from becoming too contrasty. So what I generally do is I'll look through the camera and I'll expose the image properly, or I'll pick my f-stop, I'll expose the image properly with my shutter speed, and then I'll pull back the exposure with my shutter speed, maybe a half a stop, maybe a full stop, and then I let the light kind of fill in the rest from the same direction as the sun. So that's how that technique works. Do we have any more questions?
Nothing is
It doesn't look good. So again,
It's easy, yeah.
it's a pretty straightforward technique. And then to just show you that you can do all of that stuff with, and what I meant when I was telling you how that technique works with light coming from the same side, I mean that you can also do that with the hard light as well. The shadows are going to be a little more pronounced. You're going to see them. There's going to be kind of a harder line under the nose. Where we were set up would probably be more of like a loop light pattern under, I forgot to hit do not disturb. Would probably be a little bit more of a loop light pattern under the nose. So you're going to see that. It's just going to be a little bit more pronounced with a hard light, but that's fine. It's just to show you that as long as you understand why that technique works the way that it doesn't matter if it's hard light or soft light. The soft light's going to tell the story better. It's going to feel more natural. But if you're in a scenario where you need the outputs, then just use hard light. Use no reflector. Use a Magnum. Use the OCF Zoom. They're all great options for it on, again, a light that you can throw in your camera bag and just have at the ready. So I think that's it. Do we have anything else before I sign off?
That's it, yeah.
Cool. Again, super, super simple. We really appreciate everybody for coming and hanging out. I see Tony, what's up, man? Guillermo, what's up, man? I really appreciate everybody coming through. Leo, again, in Germany, thank you all so much. If y'all have any other questions, I know Kate's a couple times put my Instagram handle. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me, is just to shoot me a DM on Instagram. If you have any questions, you want to talk about lighting, hit me up there. If you want to see anything here on the lives that you're interested in, also a great place. Also a great place to tell me that too. So feel free to. What's up, Keith? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So just come and holler at your boy there. We're hanging out, and hopefully hey, what's up, Gus? Greg, I will not be at WPPI this year. We have some other things, some other events happening kind of in that time, and that I will be at. So in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Our live starts coming back to more of a normal time. I was traveling this week for a gig, but we didn't want to miss hanging out with all of y'all. So in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. See you next week. Peace out, everybody.
Thanks.